Do you want to, and then do we want to talk about current event stuff or no?
Well, I just think it's, however we introduce Liz, I think it's got to be really cool. Like, what would be your plan to...
I'm just saying, it'd be weird if...
I mean, we have a third co-host.
If we're like, hey, Liz is here, now here's the Hydrate Medical.
And then all of a sudden we just use this as the cold open.
Let's do a podcast. Let's do a podcast. Let's do a podcast about Charlotte. Let's do a podcast. Let's do a podcast. Let's do a podcast about Charlotte. Let's do a podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of the Charlotte Podcast. This is John.
And this is Miller.
And this is Liz.
And this is episode 242. John, what's on this week's episode?
So this week, we were hosted by the fine folks at Hydrate Medical and talked with Dr. Jonathan Leake, who's a gracious host.
We had some bags of juice put inside of us.
We did.
I think that's the appropriate
It was a good time.
term.
Beautiful facility.
No, it was actually wonderful. We got hydrated.
Yes.
Via intravenous fluid.
That's right.
We'll get into that. It's a
Yes,
lovely interview. But first, we should probably talk about the elephant in the room. We are sitting in Liz's backyard. She is joining us. Liz, welcome to the Charlotte Podcast for the third time.
Hello.
Would you consider yourself a third-time guest?
I mean, after you explained it previously, yes.
All right, so you've been to two of our live shows. The first one, do you remember heckling us?
I do not.
Okay. You were in the corner of Petra's just heckling Joe. I think
It's probably heckling Joe, not you guys.
Fair.
It felt very pointed at the
Really?
stage. I didn't know who it was. It was very interesting. The second one was when Joe was on our third live show.
Yeah.
And he told the story of your guys' engagement party.
Yeah.
And he just stumbled.
It was wrong and
It was
pretty
wrong.
bad. I think
Factually
I remember
inaccurate.
being kind of like, I don't know. So I just wanted to get out. You can see I share the spotlight pretty well with him.
I think he kept telling, he left out all the endearing parts and told all the then I got a bus with a stripper pole for her parents.
And it was very well, I did this because I knew Liz wanted this and Liz wanted that. So it just made me kind of look obnoxious, which I am not, I promise.
Perfect. So you were on this week's episode because we got a large email that both of us read thoroughly and did not skim at all about you have an expanded role with the Queen City Podcast Network.
Yes.
What is that as I drop my phone?
So I'm a supervising producer in charge of some network and client-based podcasts.
That sounds fancy.
Yeah.
And you have podcast experience.
Yeah.
Right. So
personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that was all for kicks and giggles.
Yeah.
Kind of on our own.
Well, I'm always looking for tips. That's why I asked.
Yeah,
well, that's why we wanted to ask you.
What is the podcast still going?
No.
It
It stopped. I think we did our last recording either February or March, pre-pandemic, the month the pandemic started. And we didn't start back up because I got too many other jobs.
Just hearing that the pandemic killed it, that's taken me over the edge. I think the pandemic was a bad thing.
Today, Joe asked our other co-host if he wanted to start it back up in September. That was news to me.
Yeah.
I was just standing over there like, oh, okay. You forgot to ask me.
So in September, what is the name of the podcast that will be coming back? And we don't know if you'll be on it quite yet, but
We
what
do
was
not.
the name of it?
It is Pod Save the Queen City.
Which I think is a far better name than the Charlotte Podcast.
It is a good name. I'm a fan.
It's pretty clever, I think. Yeah. I don't know how we came up with it. And we were at a wedding last night, and two people came up, and they were like, are you guys the hosts of Pod Save the Queen City? But it's just because the groom was our co-host. So they knew who we were, but I pretended like it was exciting.
Is that the weirdest someone's recognized you for being a podcast?
Yes, it has actually happened at a networking event.
Ooh.
So I went to the University of Georgia. I'm actually the president of the Charlotte chapter here. But I wish y'all could see my face. I'm way more expressive than I've been talking. But a guy came up and we were talking about podcasts and I mentioned the name and he was like, oh my gosh, I listened to you guys.
Really?
And I was like, why? Because the only other person I knew was our moms.
Yeah. Do they like it, your moms?
She would make my dad listen to it at dinner.
Really?
Oh, that's
Very bizarre.
Does she miss you?
I don't know. And we'd only have it, I think it was once a month. So it was just, Yeah.
I think we'll know this episode is
funny.
good if you
It's really
send
weird.
if you send this to your parents and then we get a review. It's like great dinner conversation.
Yeah.
Like we'll know
Loved
this.
it. Topics for days.
John, has anyone ever recognized you from the podcast, even though you are semi-anonymous?
No. That doesn't happen. No, nobody cares.
Weirdest one for me was a couple years ago at the South Park Yafo. Someone was like, "Are you like on the Charlotte podcast?" And I was
That's
like,
cool.
and I was like, "Yeah, like, do I know you?" He's like, no, "I just like recognize your voice," and I'm like, "This is horrible." I think I texted you and you said that was
I
my
remember
worst.
that.
You were like, "This is my
No,
worst
it's my
nightmare."
I've had people recognize me for writing just my name stuff
Yeah.
before, and I don't like
It's-
that.
it's such
I
a
do
unique
not-
name.
I don't like that one bit. I'm
No?
not a fan. No.
I mean, the recognition that we got, I had to kind of push for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I had to be very specific about what podcast and all these things. Like he just didn't recognize my voice,
Yeah.
or face, obviously.
This is, by the way, this is lovely. We're in Plaza Midwood. Our
Yes.
new thing is backyard or front yard.
Thank you for
podcast.
hosting us,
Of
by the way.
course, yeah. I didn't have a choice. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you know? So I used to live down the block. How many times do you think I probably ran by your house any given week?
I'd say like at least 2 to 3 times a week. I don't know if I saw you every time, but I feel like it was pretty often.
What if I told you it was more?
Oh,
It was probably over 7.
God, you're such a creep.
I know. I can probably go back and track it. It's on Strava. I even created
Oh
a
my
Bruno
God.
loop that was exactly a
yes.
mile.
No, I think you sent me a screenshot of it because I was like, "What's a mile?" Because I wanted to start
I was like,
like
literally,
walking a mile.
here's this thing that includes your
Yeah.
name and your house.
Whatever. Well, not really my name yet.
Oh, yeah. What about that? Yeah.
So Joe and I got married in November, and the office was closed, and I wasn't comfortable with sending my either passport, driver's license, anything like that in the mail, and they send it back to you. But he was very adamant about getting it done, so he said he was going to take care of it. But it's July, and my last name's still Egan, so
Well, to be fair, when does he ever find himself at the government center to take care of it? So it takes a while to.
not every day, not every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
So really doesn't think about it ever.
okay.
But when we get back, we'll have our interview with Jonathan from Hydrate Medical.
The Charlotte Podcast is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
All right, we're here with Dr. Jonathan Leake with Hydrate Medical. Welcome to the Charlotte Podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
This, so we should probably set the scene. We are both hooked up. You are not, but I feel like we are not only in the care of your staff, but you're here watching us, and you've been talking about all the stuff you're doing. But first, give us the background of who you are, how did you end up in Charlotte, and then we can get into Hydrate Medical.
Sure. So I'm Dr. Jonathan Leake. I'm a board-certified emergency physician. I trained, went to school. I'm from Marietta, Georgia originally, and then ended up going to school in Atlanta at Georgia State and then Emory for medical school. And then ended up coming up here for residency in emergency medicine. Did residency here at Carolina's Medical Center. When I first came to Charlotte from Atlanta, it was kind of like shocking. This was like 2005, so that didn't feel like there was a ton going on when you kind of leave a city like Atlanta. So I thought, I'll probably go back to Atlanta when all this is over. But after I did my 3 years here, I just kind of really fell in love with Charlotte. Charlotte was growing and, really kind of enjoyed it. And there was a great job here in emergency medicine. So I ended up kind of staying and continuing in emergency medicine from that standpoint. And so started working at the ER in Shelby. We work at Atrium Cleveland there. So as an emergency physician there. And then that's where I met my business partner, Keith Paris, who's a nurse practitioner in the emergency department as well. So we worked together for about, 4 or 5 years in the emergency department before we kind of came up with this idea.
Huh. So what did you know about kind of what become Hydrate Medical? Like,
Yeah.
did you always have like an entrepreneurial spirit, or kind of, because that's kind of a leap, I
Right.
think.
So I've always kind of loved business stuff.
Okay.
I kind of thought that, when I got into emergency medicine, I was like, well, I'll probably kind of get into the business of emergency medicine and kind of,
Okay.
help run a group or kind of do manager
Got
kind of
it.
things. Because I just liked, group leadership. I'm really interested in psychology and kind of all those sort of things. And so I always thought I'd put that back together somehow. But Keith and I working in the emergency department, we were just always felt like we were fighting disease. People are sick, they're run down. You see a lot of people that haven't taken care of themselves, and have gotten themselves in unhealthy situations. And then we're kind of seeing them at the end or, really bad part of their disease process. And so, we kind of wanted to find something we could do where we could kind of help promote people to be healthy and kind of see people that were healthy and wanted to make themselves healthier, or even people with chronic disease that just wanted to feel better and wanted to have kind of a better experience in life. And so we kind of started kicking around ideas of like, what kind of clinic can we do? What can we do to kind of help boost, health and energy? And around that same time, I mean, this was really early in the days of this going on, but the hangover clinics were kind of starting to pop up.
Yeah.
And so, the hangover clinic in Vegas had popped up. There's one in Chicago, IVME, that we've become really good friends with, and some places in Miami. And so we kind of started seeing that. And so we were like, well, that's kind of neat. But, Charlotte's not like a party 24/7, right? It's kind of isolated Thursday to Sunday. So like, is that really a business? And so as we kind of looked more into the health benefits of like, hey, we can treat people with viral illness, Keith is a triathlete and a big CrossFit competitor. So we like kind of thought about some of that boosting, performance, helping people recover. And so, once we kind of started putting all those ideas together, it was like, man, we could really have this wellness-focused clinic, that could kind of specialize in IV infusions and kind of customize these infusions for, various things we want to treat and help people feel better.
Yeah, very cool. So we're here on the East Boulevard location. When did you guys start this?
So that was 2014, August of 2014.
Okay.
Opened this.
And this was the first of
correct.
one that you
Yeah,
opened.
yeah.
Okay, great. How'd that process go? Like getting to day one.
So it's funny because Keith and I didn't have any business experience going into this, and so we literally were working. We love telling this story. We were literally working in the ER one day side by side, and we were like, okay, let's do this. We're going to do this clinic. And so I was like, I guess like you get on LegalZoom and like open an LLC or something. Like, is that what we do? Or I think I've seen a commercial about this. And so we kind of started digging and we're like, oh, you got to do this medical stuff too. And licensing. We're like, we probably need to get like an attorney involved. So, luckily, one of our good friends was a big attorney at a local firm. And so he kind of connected us with their healthcare person. And so she helped us like put everything together in a package, But it was eye opening, right? Because all of a sudden you're like, oh man, we got to have a certain type of LLC because it's a medical clinic,
right.
And you're dealing with the medical board and making sure. And so, we run this like a fully licensed medical clinic. We could do any sort of medicine that we wanted to here. So it's insured and licensed just like a general medical clinic.
Wow.
But we obviously specialize in doing these IV.
Yeah.
That kind of like it stirs my marketing side of my brain where it's like people know about like the Vegas clinics and the hangover stuff, but you're so much more with wellness. Like, how do you go about to educate people? Like, yes, you can come here if you have a hangover, but you can also improve your quality of life by doing this. What was that education process as you opened this?
It was hard because we have such a wide range of people we're reaching out to, right? Like I'm looking for the person that is the CrossFit athlete that has a big competition coming up, and then I'm looking for maybe the person that has chronic illness and just wants to feel better, and overall. So marketing's been very broad. We have kind of this age range. We really see people kind of like, in their late 20s to like the mid 50s seems to be kind of like the core group of people that come in. So that helps us target a little bit to kind of know that those are the people who really use this a lot and enjoy it. But, we've kind of, the reason we put medical in our name and have kind of taken that wellness approach is just to kind of be able to have that out there for the public to kind of see that this is what we do, And so if we were just like, Hangover Charlotte, and then I'm trying to advertise like, hey, I'm here for your wellness too. It's a little harder to like convince people or tell people that that's what you're about. Where we felt like Hydrate Medical kind of summarizes all that of like, hey, we're here for your IV hydration. We're a medical facility. And then we can kind of start, picking out like, hey, we're here for wellness, we're here for lifestyle. So we kind of brand ourselves as a lifestyle type company, that, hey, we're part of, helping you feel and live better, feel better, I guess, overall and live better. So.
And it's probably worth it to see like the chairs side by side of the super hungover bachelor party guy next to the guy going to run a triathlon.
Exactly. Yeah. It's funny some of the conversations that you'll hear in this room, because on a busy Saturday you end up with, two people sitting on one side of the room that are here for hangover and somebody else is here doing something different, and or just everybody's telling battle stories from the night before. So you get to see a little bit of it all.
So 2014 you opened this, and you just started rattling off when we were talking earlier, the pre-show, about all these other locations. Where else are you looking to open or already have opened around the area?
Yeah, so we've had some really remarkable growth. So we opened here in 2014. And then in 2016, we noticed that about 10% of our clients were coming down from the Lake Norman area. And so it was obviously, a pretty challenging drive at times, kind of coming down 77. So we decided to open a clinic up there in 2016. And so that's right in Brookdale Crossing, kind of next door to Hickory Tavern up there. And so that place has done great. They're really high demand. People love it up there. And a little more wellness focused. They really see a lot of the wellness clients up there. And then from there, we actually had a neurologist that was sending us a lot of patients, and he had some extra office space in Indian Land, and so he invited us to come do some treatments down there. So we took over about 700 square feet in his office, and we're kind of doing a clinic there. But it was hard to fully control and put our brand on it. We really want Hydrate Medical to feel like a brand that you know and recognize. So if you come into our clinic here or you go to the one in Raleigh, when you walk in, you're like, oh, this is Hydrate Medical. Like, I know what to expect. So we ended up moving that to Valentine proper in April. And we're right there by kind of the junction of 485 and Johnson Road there. Okay. And so that's been great. That's really lost. The community's really enjoyed having that down there. We opened in Raleigh in 2019, and so that's done really well. We're in Glenwood South, kind of just outside of downtown. And that's a fun facility. It's an old house that we were able to kind of take over.
Cool.
And so it has a really neat vibe and feel to it. So that's been really welcome. So we're looking at Cary right now. We're in lease negotiations for Cary, and then we're opening Fort Mill in 2 weeks. So we just did one at Baxter Village there in Fort Mill. So it's certainly been great to see. I mean, people love it and seem to be excited about the new locations.
How do you guys come up with? So I'm doing the athlete, as our listeners probably expected, and John, you're doing the.
I'm doing the epic hangover here.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you come up with, obviously, how do you go about creating these mixes, or what's best? Is there experimentation? Is it a national thing where these are sent out? How do you guys come through and find the right ones for people?
Yeah, so Keith and I probably spent about 500 hours of just diving into the medical research to kind of put these all together. There's a couple classic cocktails. There's something called the Myers cocktail that's been around probably since the 60s or 70s. There was a Dr. Myers who kind of invented it and was treating his patients and reported a lot on kind of the results he was seeing. So that's kind of the classic cocktail. And so, you had a little bit to base off that. But then as we started putting together what's good for athletics, what's good for, hangover recovery, just kind of had to dive into the literature and see, what substances have been researched, and then kind of some of it's a little bit of what makes sense, it might help people because we know what happens with drinking and, what kind of vitamins you lose and, that you lose fluid and all of that. So trying to put that back together. But really each drip that we have was kind of custom created, based on us figuring out the dosing and, what's going to work. We have a really strong focus on being efficacious while being safe. So we always try to make sure that everything's fully safe and has a really good safety profile while it's still very efficacious. So that's been kind of our target from the beginning.
So which one's the most popular, would you say? It sounds like it might vary from the different locations.
So Epic Hangover and the Jet Lag are probably our most two common selling drips, I guess. They pretty much stay top two. This last year, we kind of have this Super Wellness, which has a lot of vitamin C in it. And so we've seen a lot of that with people obviously focused on trying to stay healthy, promote their immune system, kind of fight off viral illness. So we've seen that kind of go up a little bit where people are a little more focused on obviously trying to promote a good immune system and stay healthy with everything that's been going on.
Yeah. Very cool. So, we've been excited to hear war stories, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little more about clientele. So, let's start first. Sounds like you got a bunch. I want to hear the most extreme athlete and performance result, right? I think that's what Miller cares about.
For sure.
And then, I don't know, just the most hungover person you've ever seen and what you're able to do with them.
Yeah. So, I think that as far as the athletics, I think the kind of funniest story is that we have, these guys when they're doing weightlifting competitions, they have to weigh in, right? And so they will cut weight, right? So they'll go lose all their fluid, take diuretics and stuff. And then so the day of the competition, they want to get tanked back up. And then they also want to look a certain way and all this sort of thing. Yeah. So we had these two guys come in and they were getting ready for this competition. And so they were getting their IV fluid infusion. And then they kept standing up and dropping their pants, down to their little mankinis, and looking at their muscles, to see if they were there yet. And then they'd be like, yeah, I need a little more fluid, and then they'd do it again. So awesome. The nurses were cracking up with that. They're definitely telling that story. And so those are probably the most kind of extreme athletes. We see a lot of CrossFit competitions.
Okay.
It's a hard one, particularly in the summer. They obviously don't AC these gyms, and so people are working really hard. They get super dry and dehydrated. And, there's so much up and down. If your fluid's down, you can end up getting, lightheaded, dizzy, all those sort of things. So kind of getting the fluid in them, amino acids for kind of recovery helps a lot. We actually had kind of a cool story one time where these guys were doing a kind of professional competition up in North Carolina, and then they were doing a mountain bike race in South Carolina. And so they actually had some of our nurses go meet them at the private jet at Concord and then treat them while they were flying down to their next competition. So, the extreme athletes have definitely kind of bought in with that. The hangover, I think probably the funniest thing that happens here is just that we have stairs, coming up to the second floor. And so, people have done everything. We've all had those mornings where you wake up and you're like, man, I'm not going to be able to get out of bed, And so they've gotten themselves out of bed, they've gotten here, and then they kind of walk in and see the stairs, and you just see them like, oh. So we've had people kind of climbing up this, crawling up the stairs,
Slow, sometimes you're like, the 10 o'clock's here.
But what we love about the hangover treatment is people will come in like that. I mean, literally green, crawling in, and then like 40 minutes into their treatment, they're like, hey, what's good for brunch around here?
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, we send a lot of people to 300 East. Yeah. It's just like, we'll get you better. You're going to be okay.
This is a really so I have a small bladder. I go to the bathroom a lot. I'm about to hop in the car and take a 2-hour trip to Greensboro. Will this make me have to go to the bathroom more or no?
Probably a little bit.
Okay.
I know you did some exercising this morning,
Yeah.
So that kind of, especially in this heat and humidity, you're probably down a little bit on fluid.
Okay.
So we'll tank you back up, but yeah, it usually makes you have to pee a little bit more than normal. So you
I don't know if I ever told you this story.
stop.
It's before when Brittany and I first started dating. I had to go. She sent me to the doctor because she was worried I was going to the bathroom too much.
Really?
And I had to have this awkward conversation about how my fiance thought something was wrong with me, and you're like, no, you just really just process things well.
Wow.
Probably good. You're staying hydrated.
Yeah.
And, keeping your kidneys flushed out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What other questions do you have, John?
So, just as a doctor of the hangover sciences, among many other things, so kind of outside of visiting you guys, what are kind of the principles, misunderstood things about just staying hydrated in general, athletes or hangover? Yeah,
certainly we've all kind of seen a lot of the publications on trying to drink a gallon of water a day.
Yeah.
There's probably something to that, particularly somebody that lives an active lifestyle. That's probably about what it takes. There's been some recent articles that are kind of interesting about how human beings require more water intake than most animals, and it's kind of strange, but they think it was kind of part of our evolution that allowed us to perform at such a high level. But because of that, we process and lose a lot of water through the day. So certainly staying hydrated. If you're going out and gonna have a big night, kind of making sure you're staying hydrated through that day. So your body has time to absorb it and kind of prepare, I guess.
Yeah.
But alcohol gets us in a couple ways. One is that it's very dehydrating. It kind of blocks your body's ability to store water. That's why you notice when you drink, you kind of urinate over and over and over again. So you're really losing fluid and getting dehydrated. That leads to a lot of the headache and the bad feeling. But there's also a lot of inflammation that comes from drinking, and so your body just kind of gets this inflamed state, and so that's a big part of hangover, probably, of this kind of ache, pain, anxiety, kind of headache. There's some toxins that are mixed in with alcohols too that kind of stimulate some of that. And so a lot of what we do when we're treating this is trying to give antioxidants to kind of bind those toxins and help get rid of them, restoring the hydration and electrolytes, obviously. And then all the kind of water-soluble vitamins you kind of lose too, so B12, B complex kind of get lost when you're drinking and urinating a lot, so we're kind of restoring those. But for just kind of someone who doesn't want to do IV hydration but wants to kind of avoid the hangover, certainly continue to drink a lot of water while you're out. I usually recommend if you can drink 2 waters for every alcoholic beverage you're having, that's going to help you stay ahead of the game a little bit. Maybe take an anti-inflammatory before you go to bed. If you're a healthy person, you can take some ibuprofen or something like that, before you go to bed, and kind of helps fight off the inflammation a little bit. Multivitamins, something like that when you go to bed as well, just to kind of try to restore a little bit of that and help kind of fight it off a little bit. So.
How about Pedialyte? Is that hype, or is there something to that?
Yeah, so Pedialyte certainly for recovering can be helpful. So the way Pedialyte, Gatorade, all those things work is that they have some sugar in them, and your body absorbs the sugar first, and then it pulls the water with it. So it kind of helps you store a little more water, absorb a little more water a little more quickly. So it probably helps a little bit, with getting tanked up. Has some electrolytes in it and those sort of things as well. So.
Okay. All right.
Pedialyte I used to play Ultimate Frisbee competitively, and you just see all these people walking around, and everyone's duffel bag was 2 Pedialytes.
Yeah. I feel like it's a little overhyped at this point.
And in general, it's a little bit much because it has so much sugar in it. You don't in general need all that sugar and the electrolytes and all that. Normally water's fine, but if you've done something to yourself, took 15 shots of tequila, then you might mess up your vitamin absorption and stuff, and actually need some of those things back.
Okay. All right.
I'm honest. Do you feel anything? I certainly feel like I'm feeling better and feeling stuff. It's really incredible. We've been doing this 20 minutes, and then we're actually going to record the intro and outro to this on Sunday, so we'll be able to say what all happened, and we'll report back. But what is, obviously I think this works just by what I'm feeling right now. What's like the next step to this? Is it like building out more cocktails? Is it or more drips? Is it like what's the next part of this like new frontier of medicine?
So we've like taken a deep dive into some pretty complex IV stuff, and so one thing is NAD plus, and I don't know if you guys are into anti-aging at all or have read anything about that stuff, but there's a substance called NAD plus, which is basically an activated form of vitamin B3, but it's something that is in the body naturally, and it's critically involved in how your body makes energy, how your body makes neurotransmitters, all these kind of really important processes. And so we've started doing these NAD infusions, and it's been shown to help with anti-aging, so kind of, keeping your cells healthy and longer.
You're going to help people live forever?
Yeah, hopefully that'd be great. At least a few extra good years. But it also helps with concentration, anxiety, so it really works a lot with burnout. So like if you've had a super stressful week or month or whatever, and you're just feeling fatigued, anxious, kind of burnout, you do this infusion. It takes about 3 or 4 hours to go in, but really kind of helps kind of regenerate your neurotransmitters, and kind of, most people report feeling more relaxed and more focused afterwards. So that one's been really great and something we've brought on in the last few years. And then we do IV ketamine infusions for depression, anxiety, and PTSD as well.
Oh, wow.
And so, that's obviously a very serious, thing that we do here. Either myself or Keith have to be here for those infusions. It requires a referral from psychiatrist or, primary care. But amazing. It's one of the coolest things I've done in medicine. Like, really have seen people with debilitating depression who've tried multiple medications and haven't been able to get better. And then within 6 infusions, have done a 180, and they're back to work feeling better. And it's about 80% effective, works on about 80% of people. So it's really been a cool treatment that we've kind of gotten into. So that's been huge. And then we just always are, Keith and I are always paying attention to literature. So, we're trying to stay ahead of, is there something new that we can add for athletes? Is there something new we can add for, hangover or jet lag, or how are we fighting, viral illness and keeping you healthy?
Yeah.
So we always, we're always digging in the literature and kind of finding what's new and booming with that. So.
Yeah. That's very cool. It's cool you got the infrastructure to kind of have a little sandbox with stuff like that.
Sure, and that's kind of where those have been added. Is it's like, hey, we've got IVs, we've got the fluids, we've got everything we need to do it. I know how to, use ketamine. We've done it in the emergency department for sedation, and so you're like, oh, we can do this and help people with it. So
very cool.
That's incredible. What you're doing here is truly phenomenal. I know certainly as I try more and more dumb endurance stuff, I will be back to prepare or afterwards.
Try to biohack yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Forget blood doping.
Right.
But this is incredible. And I'm looking forward to us recording in a few days and be able to kind of report back.
For sure.
As of right now, 2 thumbs endorsement from me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So thanks so much for having us.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you guys.
John, how are you feeling? Like we're recording this 2 days after getting I love that you had to look at your phone just to see how many days.
I got an alert from my Ring doorbell on my phone. That's why.
How are you feeling? How are your fluids?
I feel good. I feel my fluids are up. Yeah. I mean, I definitely felt better immediately afterwards. Like the juice they put in me made me feel good. So
That looked like Mountain Dew.
It did.
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually, Liz. I'm gonna send it. This is probably not the best marketing for them, but I'm showing you a photo of it. Does it not look like Mountain Dew?
Oh my gosh, it does. Like Mountain Dew or like Surge.
Yeah. Surge Cola.
Remember that?
That would be amazing. But no, I think it was really good. I would like to try to do like before like something athletic, like do it and see how much it affects you. Like,
well, I'd love to do it afterwards. Like,
you
just feel like garbage after like a half marathon or something like that, and see how quickly it brings you back. That's what I want to do.
Are you doing the round 10K?
I am, yeah.
Nice, same.
Okay.
Doing
a race?
Liz, are you doing it?
No.
Oh, I do not want to race. I'll be running on like 3 hours of sleep. There's a football game the night before.
Why don't you just get yourself an IV and
boom,
hop right in and then race me?
Liz,
me,
who
coward.
do you think wins the Georgia Clemson game? Are you willing to put a friendly wager on this?
No.
Are you willing to put a friendly wager?
I don't know. I mean, I should say that.
No money involved.
I really hope Georgia, but I don't know.
Okay.
Because Clemson these days.
Feels good to be a Clemson.
Are you in charge of like get-togethers and like watch parties and stuff in your role?
I like oversee it. There's someone in that. There's a game watching party person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oversee.
What's the bar that you guys go to?
Queen Park Social.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
How active is your domain here in Charlotte?
It kind of ebbs and flows. there's always the regulars.
Yeah.
But there's so many Georgia people here. Like,
Yeah.
I would constantly see like bumper stickers or plates, and I would want to like put a message on their car to be like, "Come play with us." But I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
In a non-creepy way.
Right.
We're alumni. Come play
Yeah.
with us.
And like, so I used to operate the social for it prior to that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we were always trying to think of new ways to gather more people. But I'd say it's like decently active.
Yeah.
Do they still have the ambulance that's painted up and stuff?
Yes.
I
Wait,
remember
what
Yes.
is this?
Yeah, I remember it used to be a kickstand, RIP
Yeah.
kickstand, best salad in town. I
Kickstand
still
is
stand by
awesome.
it.
Yes. Yeah. Kickstand used to be our old
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Game Watch.
And so I had to stop going to kickstands on Saturdays because I had to deal with.
Sorry.
But no, it was like great for the business. Like
Yeah.
they crushed it, but then they still closed a year later.
Yeah.
I really do miss that place.
I think it
place
was
is
called the Dog Fanbulance. Maybe.
Ambulance.
I think. Very active fella.
I like that. Well,
Yeah.
will it be at the Georgia Clemson game?
I don't know.
I bet.
We are potentially working on like having like stock cars like painted and stuff like that. So it'll be like
Oh, really?
Fest, yeah.
That's exciting. Is there a concert?
There'll be like there'll be fan fest before each game, and then we might get in trouble saying this. Working on something Friday night that'd be free and open to public.
Kid Rock.
Yes,
Is
Kid Rock.
Blink if it's Kid Rock.
I
He just
blunk
blinked
very.
so hard. Very severe blink.
I have a spasm in my eye now. No, it is. I think it'll be something fun, but I'm actually excited about that Friday night event because I don't think there's been many like free and open to public concerts in a while, and
There
I'm
have
kind
not.
of comfortable having it outside, and it'll be out in
Right.
front of Panther Stadium, so it'll be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be
Nice.
really
And that's a cool venue if you've never been to like a show there. We used to do them for the bowl a lot, like out in those where the streets come together.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of like a natural place to visit. It's up high. It's like the hill looks down at the stage.
Like right on Mint Street?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Mhm.
Nice.
All right, so I have a couple of things, not necessarily like just some bullet points of things that have happened recently in Charlotte that we all can discuss.
Okay.
And we'll throw out some things like that. My first one is just more poop in the lake. Liz, do you know about this?
I asked Joe after you mentioned it to me. But I need more details.
So there's been two in this one part of Lake Norman. There was two commercial spills of like fecal matter past few weeks. Like very bad timing when people are in the lake and they've had like closed it off. And like there's been stories of like people trying to go swim and be like, no, there's poop there. And then there was just another one after they found all this stuff, another like larger one, correct, John?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So why? Here's my question, I guess. Has poop in the lake always been happening, or is this just happening now?
My instinct was that it's always been happening.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's always like it's about thresholds, right?
Right.
Like there's always a certain threshold of acceptable amounts of poop in the lake, and there has been some accidents
Maximum.
that have like shot it
You
way
nearly
over the
said
threshold.
some skids, which would have been
Some what?
some skids.
Oh yeah.
They really left a mark there.
So I just hope we can get like back under the threshold of acceptable amounts of poop in the lake for the folks that are there, so that they can enjoy their summer
Interesting.
of swimming in water with just the right amount of poop in the lake.
I'm interested in both of yours. What's your policy? I want to say just general bodies of water, whether you can pee in it while you visit it. Pools is my first one. Pee in a pool.
So you're going to throw
Yes or
out?
No pool.
No,
Okay.
that's gross. So if it's treated with chemicals, like off limits, my friend.
All right. U.S. National Whitewater Center.
When are you in the
No.
water?
If you're like, let's say you're rafting, you're on the raft for like 2 hours.
No, but if you're paddleboarding,
I'm saying you fall if you're in the water.
Oh, paddleboarding, yeah, because that's a river, right?
Are you going in the water or just standing on the paddleboard?
usually you fall.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
or something.
So we'll say
Yeah. let's
rivers,
go.
lakes,
green
yes.
green light to pee.
All right. Ocean.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What? This might be TMI, and you can
It's not.
What's your like ocean peeing strategy? Like,
I mean,
how are you
is
just
there-
going in? You
Is there more
dunking?
than one?
Well, are you gonna walk out? Here's my question: are you doing it while swimming? Like, are you gonna act like you're swimming, or are you just gonna go stand and stare into the distance where everyone
Listen,
knows what you're doing?
Who do you think you're fooling? Like with any strategy,
You just
with
walk
going
up
out there is
and
my take.
splash up on yourself a little bit, freshen up.
Like what? It doesn't even matter. Like it's
I
like
feel like I'm so coy about it. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm going for
you're-
a little swim.
Yeah.
Like, hang out in there for a while.
I just assume everyone is constantly peeing at the ocean.
Yeah.
That's just my take.
I agree. No,
Probably.
Be like, oh, it's only me. It's like you see like crowds of people with just like coolers and coolers of drinks. like, and out there for hours. Like, what's happening with them? They're going out there. They're peeing. It's full of pee.
No, it's fair. Mama Ricotta's is making pizza and cheese. Oh, FS Food Group is doing pizza and cheesecake.
Cheesesteaks, yeah.
You know more about this than I do, I imagine.
It's all, you made the list.
I know, but I just read the headline. It seemed good.
Yeah.
I mean, we're fans of FS.
I am, yeah. Yeah, so, like, next to Mama Ricotta's, Frank Schiavelli is putting, like, a cheesesteak and pizza. I got the impression it was more of, like, a to-go place than, like, a sit-down restaurant. So, but, yeah, I mean, he's good at making that stuff, so I'm excited for it.
Gluten-free.
You're gluten-free.
Yeah.
Do you eat gluten-free pizza?
Yes.
Do you like it? Do you have a favorite?
I really like Pizza Peel.
Yeah.
Nice. You know about the
They do a
secret
good
menu
job.
at Pizza Peel?
Nah.
Oh, yeah, they have a full, like, additional 15, 20 pizzas.
What?
Yeah.
Where?
And I would argue that
This
they are
is like
better
Starbucks
than...
with their
No.
hidden gems.
No, you can ask for it when you go there. It's like a laminated menu. They'll hand you. Maybe it's a QR code now. I don't know. But they have, like 50, 20 additional pizzas that are super good.
They are really good.
They're not on the main.
Yeah.
It's like an actual different menu.
It's kind of almost like what the staff has come up with.
Nice. I'll have to check that out.
I can virtually guarantee there's some gluten-free options.
Yeah, I think
Totally.
with there you can just get the gluten-free. It's like $2
I just
bucks.
need the
and you
crust.
get it,
Yeah. I usually make it work.
Yeah. I had Pizza Peel tonight from Matthews.
You did.
From Matthews.
First time I went to the Matthews Pizza Peel. I felt
How's that?
It was, I don't know. It's fine.
Did it feel wrong?
It did.
Wait, do you have to go there because you live in the suburbs now?
Yes.
Burbs.
Well, when we were driving back from Greensboro. But yeah, like literally Brittany and I lived at Village at Commonwealth and would walk up to Pizza Peel, and like our family would come in town and would jokingly ask where we're going to go eat for dinner, and they'd be like, no, we know Pizza Peel. Like it was like very sad. That's where we had engagement photos taken of us playing Rummy Cube at
so
Pizza
poetic.
Peel.
Really?
I love it. That's cute.
That's awesome.
Well, then good. Good thing I like them so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm into the cheesesteak if it's like, I just don't, here's my issue. I feel like it can't be authentic cheesesteak. Take like a weird twist on it. I feel like don't try to do a Philly thing because then people are always going to compare it to like what Philly is.
What if it's really good though?
Sure, fine. Have it, but also have like weird versions of cheesesteak for
Like
people.
what? What would be a Charlotte version?
Pimento cheese.
Seems like a lot. I'd
Or
try
just
it,
do
though.
like different things. I think it'd be really cool. I mean,
Pimento cheese and pork. That'd be so much. I mean, 15,000 calories.
yeah.
That sounds
Have you had Southern food yet?
painful.
Yeah. All right, fine.
You know where the cheesesteak place I'm excited about is that? Have you guys had Cheats cheesesteaks, like the pop-up food truck?
I thought you said Sheets is in the.
I did too.
I was
like
like,
gas
no, I
station.
haven't.
I've had a Sheets cheesesteak as well, but I'm talking about Cheats. It's a pop-up like
Sheets.
food, but they're they got where Villani's Bakery is and the Rico's
Yeah.
acai. Yeah, right there.
Really?
They bought like a brick and mortar spot.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
And they're going in. Yeah, I drove by it on the way
I
here.
was just there the other day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're really good cheesesteaks. So
Nice.
get ready.
I just want a number. How many trust falls would it take to fix city government?
Just one really good one. I don't know. What do you want from me, Miller?
I just think that it's so far. My reason I ask that such a dumb question is I think it's so far broken.
I have a question for you.
Oh, please do.
Are you the biggest fan of Charlotte, like, politics?
No, because
I don't think
there is
anyone
someone
cares.
sitting in the
He's
house
the
behind me
I don't
that
think
is paid to
but
care.
he gets paid. That's
But he loves it
He's
so
got
much.
an excuse.
Does.
You don't.
I think he's just the biggest fan of Joe Bruno
No,
in general.
Joe Bruno Boy Summer is a thing. No, I think there's bigger fans because there's people who like think he's actually saving the world. I just think he's just a really nice guy who's funny and quirky who allows me to DM him weird things.
Lets me DM him.
No, I'm probably in the. I mean, I have turned on the Gov channel just to
I know,
watch
you
a
watch
school
it.
board meeting, just to
That's
see the
interesting.
crazies.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? That like he's really into it. To,
Have you ever thought about attending?
No,
Are you?
that seems like a waste of
Is
time.
the public allowed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it
Okay.
just seems like a waste of time
Oh.
because I can watch. I can know when it's gonna be crazy, and I can turn it on.
But like how often does it pay off for you that there's drama? Like it has recently, but like I feel like in your head it's this like like really intense, like funny thing to watch, but it's actually super boring. And I'm baffled that you spend so much time.
Well, I'm like streaming it, so
Watching.
I can always go back to when stuff's getting weird and then watch it then. Okay.
You and Joe Bruno's friendship makes a lot of sense now. You're like putting a lot into perspective. This is weird.
I just think that when it comes to city government, it can have a tremendous impact on our lives. Probably the government that have the most. I also think that it is very interesting that we had this city council and all these people who a couple years ago were supposed to be this incredible thing. And
you said incredible.
Like they were being portrayed as like the millennial city council. They're going to change the way things are done. They're going to have podcasts. They have all this stuff. And it is by far worse than like it has ever been in terms of how they get along or anything like that.
I don't know if that's true.
I mean, they're giving on-air interviews where they're cursing about other ones, or certain people are.
I guess.
I don't know.
I think you.
I do, and
I don't want to yuck your yum.
Well, here's the thing.
It seems like it's
I love internet that's messy.
Yes, you do.
I love the messiness.
Right.
Like that's why I like my favorite Olympic highlight so far has been the skateboarder who fell and like the bar hit him right.
Oh my God. We were just watching that earlier today. I didn't realize that
Have
was
you
from
seen
the
it, John?
Olympics.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It's yeah. So
I was
that's
like, why
the
are you
internet I
showing
love.
me this?
So that's, and I feel like city councils like watching that.
I
You think,
I don't know.
They think they're going to pull off something really cool, and they end up just sprawled out hitting a pole.
I think you think that there's a lot more action going on than there really is.
But I don't watch everything. I'm very selective in my viewing.
Okay, good.
It's not I just know when it's going to happen.
Okay. You are the number one fan of the coverage, though.
I don't know if that's true.
Yes. That's
speaking
true.
of Olympics, you said Charlotte area Olympians.
Oh yeah, I think it's kind of amazing how many Olympians have like Charlotte ties. There's a swimmer there, and I don't know if they're favorites to win, but there's like a solid 10 or 11 like Charlotte area Olympians who like went to high school in the general area.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There used to be more. Well, 2016 there was a lot more
of the
because
swim
of
Mac.
Yeah, but David Marsh has left now, or isn't there as much.
Yeah, like Ryan Lochte and squad.
The news station I used to work at was right by where they would practice swim.
Yeah.
Did
you have any sightings?
Swim stuff.
Any stories?
No.
I got one.
Oh, we bumped into Ryan Lochte a few times.
Yeah.
Actually, at Whiskey Warehouse. He was getting ready to serve a tray of fireball shots to someone.
Just one person
Or
gets
some
it.
people, I don't know. My cousin and I were in there, and we were like, is that for us? And it wasn't. But we tell people he served us a tray of fireball shots.
I worked at Queens, and he trained there because that's where and there's like some Speedo commercial going on, and someone was like, "Hey Miller, you're gonna come down and see the commercial and like a solid gear," and they're like, "Okay, we're like doing the shoot in here," and like pulled me in like this random weight room, and it was like strobe lights, Ryan Lochte oiled down in a Speedo, dancing to 2 Chainz while being photographed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you take a picture?
Mentally.
Oh.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was
That's different.
It was like one of those things where in your job you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah.
It's like I think I just turned and walked out. I was like, this isn't
day
for
at
me.
the office.
That's a good story, though.
Yeah.
That's good. That's all the list I have. Do you guys have anything you want to throw out there to talk about?
Well, I have the question that
Please
I asked you guys before we turn the mics on. So Kanye West is living
Oh, I do love this.
at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
He's
in
living
Atlanta.
in it in the visitors' locker room, or using
Right.
the visitors' locker room so much that opposing soccer teams have to use like auxiliary locker rooms.
That's right.
But I thought you were kidding when you said he was living there.
No, he's like
No.
apparently he's living
He's,
there,
like-
finishing his album,
And he's like making music in there too to like finish the album.
What?
and
Yeah.
he's like showing up wearing red
So-
poofy jacket and pants, and like standing in the soccer game with a pantyhose pulled over his head.
I saw
Yeah.
that image.
So my question is, what would be the Charlotte equivalent of that? Like, what stadium will they be in, and what artists?
That's a
Yeah.
great question. Like, so is your question like, what's the
allegory? What's the like Atlanta and Charlotte are very similar and often compared to each other.
Yeah. I'm trying to think
For
of like
right
what
or
would be
wrong.
actually like funniest. But I think obviously that'd be like Bank of America Stadium, and then you have like a Kid Rock or something.
Yeah.
randomly living there would be funny.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Maybe,
I would love
maybe
like
Garth Brooks will stick around after his concert.
like
And live there.
Reba McEntire hanging out in the Bowplex would be funny to me.
That's
Do-
pretty good.
Do we know how he decided to live there?
He did like a live
sure.
listening a night ago or 2 nights ago, and he's trying to finish his album, which he always never finishes.
Yeah. There's so many other places in the world. Like, he can go anywhere in the world.
It's like considerably more convenient than an NFL stadium, right?
He's a very interesting fellow.
It'd be a bigger deal for Charlotte. Like, I feel like ho-hum that happened in Atlanta, and like Atlanta moves on, but I feel like it might capture the hearts of Charlotte if something big like that happened here, right?
Capture the hearts.
Or the complete opposite, like no one
would notice.
Yeah, it's like the thing is, I feel like Charlotte's a good celebrity city because no one pays attention to anything.
Oh, it's good for celebrities.
Yeah.
I'm from Atlanta, so I'm trying to think like how I would react. Thank you. How I would react to seeing him walking around the stands.
Yeah, say you're in the soccer stadium and you see a man in a poofy red jacket and a pantyhose on his head.
I think I'd just be confused.
Do you engage?
No.
Okay. Do you make like what if you make?
Well, in the video too, he had like a posse around. He had all these people in front of him and behind him, so I would know instantly. Like, no, Liz.
Okay. Do you have like
Don't
yes,
engage.
Liz, no, Liz moments?
I can't. You can't see my facial, so I feel like I have to. I don't know.
I'm just very interested in your particular reaction to like him standing beside you. Like look over, and like he's standing there.
Oh my gosh! I'd be like, this is wild. I think I'd lose it for a second because that's kind of like.
Yeah.
Kanye's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be pretty funny, just like enjoying a soccer game.
Right. And about like, why is he at the Atlanta United game?
Yeah.
Then he's looking and goes, I live here.
Yeah. And he's like, why are all these people in my house right now?
Can you please get out of my home?
Oh.
That's good. That's gold.
Well, maybe like Ric Flair doing something.
Yeah.
That works.
Just like squatting in the
the Grady Cole Center.
Yeah.
I think that's where he's at now.
Gross. Probably. There's a decent chance he is there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wild.
Well, as we wrap this up, anything else on the agenda? There's a bug attacking
Anything
Liz.
to cover?
Literally, just try to go in my ear.
I ever told the story about the bug in my ear?
Let's hear it.
Oh, like, people have made it this long. This is quite the story. So I play, or used to play Ultimate Frisbee, and pretty competitively and traveled a lot and was up at a tournament in Winston-Salem. So this was, and I'm actually going to find the image. So I'm going to show you the image so people can react as well. And I was having some like hamstring issues, so I was having someone stretch me, and I like felt something on my ear, and like I like swung at it, and it's like went in. So yeah, so it was in there. I try and like I start freaking out. People are laughing, and I'm like, no, seriously, this is an issue. Like I tried to take like a shoelace, like the plastic, like try to scrape it out. And like kept trying to do things, and the issue was like the more I did, the worse it got. And what I don't think people like,
you're like pushing it down farther.
Yeah, and it's still moving. So like also like it's not only painful because there's something in your ear, but it's also incredibly loud and uncomfortable. So like eventually like I'm like hunched over in pain. Eventually they take me to like a random firefighter who was like a medic there, and he like looks at it, and they're like, you gotta go to urgent care. So I go in, like my friend gets me to fill out paperwork, like I'm hunched over because it's like getting really painful. And they take me in, and like this is like an urgent care and not good part of Winston-Salem, and like they're working on it, and I finally like double over. I'm like, please stop. Like I need to stop. And at that point, like I feel it coming out, and like
you feel it crawling out.
Yeah, it crawls out. And I feel someone grab it.
What?
And I hear the nurse go, oh, shit, and run out the room.
What?
And I look at the doctor. I'm about to show you guys the image. You can see it in the doctor's hand. And I was like, hey, like, you were going to urgent care here. Like, how weird is this on a scale of 10? He's like, this is a 10 out of 10 for me. I'll show it to John first.
Whoa.
It was probably
Is that a Japanese beetle?
Yeah, it's a Japanese beetle.
Is that bad?
Yeah, here, I'll zoom in. It also, if you can notice, it is missing a leg in there.
Oh.
Is it still in your...
And I was bleeding because it scratched me up and bit me up so much that I had to go on antibiotics.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been a good story time.
Wait, so is that... But why did the nurse run out of the room?
She was so freaked out seeing a live bug crawl out of my ear.
No.
I don't think I have anything comparable.
What did the pain feel like? I'm so curious.
I remember it being sharp, and also it was almost like a scratching noise.
So it was like trying to like.
It was trying to get
dig
out.
Its way out of you, basically. Oh my God, that makes.
Could
me
it have
nauseous.
gotten into your brain?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like, where
yeah.
Liz is tracing.
I need to go watch a Magic School Bus or something. See what the
Miss Frizzle help me.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you hear stories of people like when they're sleeping sometimes, like they get bugs
like how many
or something stuck.
Like how many spiders you
swallow.
swallow.
That's what I'm like. Yes, I wake up every morning and I'm like, probably 10 to 15 last night. I don't know.
Yeah.
Things that haunt you.
So I feel like this has been an interesting episode. It really took a turn at the end.
Yeah.
It was meant to be.
I will say that story is what I'll remember about this episode.
Wait, do they have wings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a Japanese beagle.
So it could have flown around in your brain.
I don't think brains have air in them, John.
Well, it could have spread its wings and done some damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what if they're like little knives?
Yeah.
Razors.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, people always talk about like, hey, let me put a bug in your ear, like that phrase, like let me, and it's like, nope, that's a very real thing for me.
You have PTSD when you hear that?
Yeah, I'm like, that's not funny.
How long ago was it?
So it's 2015,
okay.
2014.
Oh wow, so that's not too long ago.
Yeah, that wasn't that long.
I was a grown man.
Have you've recovered from the trauma
how
of
are
your
you?
of the bug in your ear?
I'm good. I don't really trust bugs that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see them and you instantly think they want to get inside your ear.
Yes.
Get inside your head.
I know what they're thinking.
Coming for you.
Liz, do you know anything about Ric Flair?
No.
No? Do you know about his like legendary how he always went woo?
Yes.
Would you like to woo with us?
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm going to follow y'all's lead.
Do you think your neighbors will be... Has anyone moved into that house back there yet?
No, not yet.
That man was so sweet. I was so mad.
Sweet.
I'm so sad he
yeah,
moved.
he got a little delay, but he's back up and running.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Woo!